This week's responding to your comments is all about how to gain weight. Antonio Ray 99 asks, could you please do a video on how to put on weight? I'm super skinny and I need some help. Well, what are we waiting for? Let's begin. Now, before we go into the science of how to gain weight, I need you to check your BMI, which you should definitely do at the end of this video. I'll leave a BMI calculator in the description below. It's super easy to use and it'll tell you if you're underweight, overweight, or just normal. Okay, so with all that said, let's begin with tip number 1. I know this is gonna sound counterproductive, but bear with me because we're gonna work through it. You need to avoid high calorie foods that are high in bad saturated fats and sugars, and I'm gonna tell you why. So I'm talking about things like chocolate, sugary drinks, cakes, biscuits, basically everything that's got a barcode on it, okay? All it's gonna do is increase your fat instead of increasing lean body mass, which is what we're gonna go through in this video, okay? In addition to that, it's gonna increase your cholesterol and potentially put you at a much higher risk of heart attacks and strokes. So instead of those unhealthy foods, in tip 2, I'm gonna teach you what I recommend you to have. We're gonna work through it to increase your lean body mass the healthy way, okay? I will also leave loads more information in the description below on food ideas as well, so definitely make sure to give that a read too. Okay, so let's begin with breakfast. Generally speaking, what I recommend my patients to put on weight is usually for breakfast, I like porridge with some full fat milk and maybe a bit of fruit in there or some raisins. Or if you don't like porridge, for example, you could try some eggs with some wholemeal bread. This is gonna boost the calorie intake as well as it being healthy at the same time. Now, a little after breakfast, what I generally recommend my patients to do is have another snack, like a milkshake, okay, made with full fat milk and fortified maybe with milk powder as well for additional protein and additional calories. Okay, so now let's move on to lunch. This is gonna be your biggest meal of the day. Generally speaking to patients, I usually recommend a nice carbohydrate source and a nice protein source, okay? So for example, I'm thinking things like maybe a baked potato, some beans, some tuna, some salad, or maybe a lasagna and a nice salad next to it as well. So I hope you start to see a trend now, because a bit after lunch, we're gonna have another snack, okay? So for example, you can have some toast, maybe some peanut butter and honey on it for some additional energy. Okay, so moving on to dinner. This is gonna be a lighter meal because we're gonna follow it up with dessert. Generally speaking, I recommend things like a pasta bake, a sandwich, something like that, nice and light. And soon after that, you're gonna want dessert. So I'm thinking high energy foods like rice pudding, crumble with some custard. Delicious. So weight gaining diet done, but please make sure that you incorporate your 5 a day of fruit and vegetables into this diet too. This is super critical. I'm moving on to tip number 3. I don't know if you've ever heard of ghrelin, but it's a chemical that our body releases that tells us that we're hungry, so we need to eat. Now here's the thing, ghrelin, the chemical, doesn't last very long. So when you get the hunger strike, you need to eat straight away. If you leave it, you're gonna lose your appetite. You're gonna lose the ghrelin, you're gonna lose your appetite and not eat, and it's not gonna help with gaining weight. So I've tried to keep this video short and sweet. I really hope you find these tips helpful. Please do remember though, if you are losing weight quite drastically, this can be a red flag, so I'm going to leave loads more information in the description below. Please do read it. This is super critical. Always remember you're awesome and I'll see you next week.